So technically Canada has won the campaign. Whether they were number 1 or not in any of the Info Addicts categories, it doesn't matter, they won the campaign, and I will definitely give you guys the shout out at the end of the series for those of you that pick Canada. But we're going to continue on here, and we might announce a second winner or a tie for first place to see how this goes, because just a bunch of wars broke out, and now things are getting kind of really exciting because the Europeans are fighting the Europeans, they're fighting the natives who have caught up in technology. We're not done with this experiment. It's barely turned 250. But in all seriousness, I am very excited that Canada has won. They really redeemed themselves there, because I understand, like, I just felt so bad for all the people that were rooting for Canada in the previous AI-only campaign with the modded civs. Such a close battle between Canada and the Philippines. Maybe that will be the most epic battle, the most epic rivalry of all time. We might need to bring those two back together, because that was just such an interesting match, that previous AI-only campaign. They were just, at it, back and forth. But anyways, let's keep that in mind, that whenever we use Canada in other games, we need to maybe disable the diplomatic victory. And this, things really worked out for him this time. I can't open up the cultural overview window, but everyone went freedom. And they went freedom, so they kept all their friendships. Usually Canada tends to fall apart in the possibility of a diplomatic victory because the ideology system comes into play, and everyone chooses different ideologies, so they lose a lot of their friends. Where this was the case where there was a bunch of revolutions, so it was pushing more civilizations towards freedom, which ultimately let them keep a hold of more of their friendships, or even gaining a little bit of friendships in the process of some of these revolutions. So that was probably why, and that's probably something we need to keep in mind for the future. I'm sure we'll go back to an AI-only world campaign, and I know I'm going to include Canada next time, so we might need to either disable a diplomatic victory, or we'll see. But anyways, guys, let's continue onward. So Sitting Bull has completed their own wonder, and what is this spy telling me? What do you guys got? Napoleon, secretly plotting against Mexico. Well, Napoleon, you kind of shouldn't be doing any of that stuff, because you have to worry about... I didn't even realize, did we talk about how Los Angeles and San Francisco formed? I don't think we did. Oh, yeah, I think we did. So I would be technically the region, I don't know, the city, I'd be living here. I don't even know where this location is. We're looking at, what is this, maybe Indianapolis is probably more here. Indiana, I mean. I don't know. Anyways, so Spain is going after the Iroquois. And the Iroquois are now just starting to bring down most of their forces, which were actually kind of cut off by both the Anishinaabe and the American borders, but now they're starting to kind of squeeze by. America is at war with the Anishinaabe, and actually quite a few people are at war with the Anishinaabe. Just to show you guys visually what's going on in the Info Addicts, and in terms of war, it's kind of complicated, to say the least. It's pretty complicated. The Sioux are still at war with the Dene. I know that the Chinook are still at war with the Shoshone, and that is it. So that's pretty nice. We have the Anishinaabe at war with the Mayans, which aren't going to be able to do too much. The Cree, which are important. The Cree will do stuff, but I believe the Cree are too busy sending down forces to maybe, I don't know, support their colonies that France is trying to destroy. Yeah, right here. But I don't know. Actually, the Cree could still maybe hold on here. Let's go back to that Info Addicts window. Besides that, we have Spain at war with a bunch of people. Technically, England grabbed back Brantford, which Spain had controlled, and I had totally forgotten about that. And then they're at war with Iroquois, as they're sending most of their forces after Hiawatha. And then the Mayans, which, not a super big deal. Anyways, that is about it. Nothing else that's significant, but they're pretty big, huge wars, because most of these eastern nations, or tribes, or colonies, whatever you want to call them, they haven't gone to war in a very, very long time. So that's why we're seeing these huge battles with the Iroquois versus Spain. This is a big one. Especially, it really depends. Wow. And look at the forces that France is sending out. They really want to take hold of these Cree cities. And these are really massive Cree cities. 17 population, 16 population. You're talking about some big stuff, as well as the possibility of Sitting Bull and Napoleon going, head-to-head right at it. I don't know why Washington declared that war, but I get it. The Aztecs are pretty weak, so it makes a little bit of sense. And I know that Canada's kind of moved out here more towards this region. Surprised that nobody else has, but it's fine. England is one of the only also nations that I see with planes. Everyone's declaring war on the Aztecs, which means more than likely, I'm thinking the Zapotec are going to declare war soon, which the Aztecs have almost no military whatsoever, just one pikeman. I feel bad for them. I feel bad for him, man. I totally feel bad for him. Mexico could maybe try something here, but they're going to need to the Zapotec and Mexico need to team up if they want to take out the Aztecs, only because it's tough. Then you've lost their capital. Uh-oh. Yep, and the Sioux are continuing to push forward. And that they even took that with all these mountains. So here's the thing. The Sioux have lost a lot of units, and my prediction was true. They did, in fact, lose a lot of units. However, all the other nations that were surrounding this tribe, they're now at war with the other, nearby countries. Instead of they probably could have taken out the Sioux. The Cree might have been able to do it. Maybe the Cree and the Mayans together might have been able to team up to do that. But I just don't know. I don't get it. Pogtel is constructing the Eiffel Tower, and England and the Cree have signed a research agreement. Okay. The Anishinaabe is sending a small force after Los Angeles. I don't think that Washington has enough units. Just a bunch of melee units, that's not going to go so well. Although, I know the Anishinaabe don't have anything to defend this city. Still something to keep in mind. I would say something to keep in mind. I really am hoping for some clean borders here. I think we should be able to see it, but it probably will take a while. Again, I'm not entirely sure where we'll end it. If someone gets a cultural victory, then I'll probably end it. Or, obviously if we see that they're influential, we won't see that ending screen window pop up, obviously. But if we see that someone's become, influential with the 16 or whatever it is, 17 civs, then of course we will go and figure that situation out and stuff like that. And give the winner to that cultural victory, the would-be culture victory. Anyway, so the next United Nations proposal is cultural heritage sites. A lot of the Wonder civs are going to like that. And then, yes, I voted for that Wales thing again. England's publicly denounced Canada, which is about time, Elizabeth. You pretty much gave England the go-to victory there. I've got to say, you totally did. I still can't believe that England is the only person that has an air force up. Is England that high in technology? I believe they are. I do think they are. Nope. I think Canada's here to reinforce. Spain is not going to be able to take the city. I do not think so. I seriously doubt it. But we'll have to wait and see. Mayans have kind of stopped their little sneak attack. I don't know if they... Yeah, it looks like they are not. They were not given open borders through France anymore. Clearly, they were, and that deal must have just ended because, as you can see, every single one of these units have been popped out of French territory. So interesting, and Napoleon is refusing to give the Mayans open borders once again, open borders access. Okay, interesting AI move there. I like it. I like it very much. The Shoshone are still going after the Chinook, and we have the Sioux still going after the Dene. So things are kind of getting crazy because we have the Sioux continuing to grab land. We have the Shoshone continuing to grab land, and they will border each other very, very soon. Even though the Sioux might be number one in most of the info addicts categories, I think that might end up changing because if France takes over both of these Cree cities, then you're looking at the Sioux bordering both the Shoshone and the French, as well as even the Mayans. Even the Mayans can get up a force that could maybe, do some damage. It's possible. Canada, the Dene have signed a research agreement. France has publicly denounced Mexico. We have the Mayans publicly denouncing Spain, and the Mayans publicly denouncing Canada. So those are nations probably denouncing Canada that are not a part of freedom, but it looks like Canada was kind of the ultimate freedom nation, I think. I don't think they were one of the first to adopt. I can't even remember. I'm not sure if they were one of the first to adopt it, but anyways. Oh, boom. Yep. France took the first Cree city, and they will more than likely take the next one. They've got huge forces, a bunch of cannon units. This is how an AI should be building stuff. This was a smart AI move, building range units. The problem with Isabella, she will not take Iroquois cities, Iroquois, whatever you want to say. Apparently that's a region thing. Apparently, like in the U.S., in the East Coast, they pronounce it the Iroquois, and then in Canada, it's the Iroquois. That's what I heard. I don't know. I know you guys get really frustrated, but that's just what I heard. Maybe I'm totally wrong about that. Anyways, the Mayans have built the Cristo Redentor. The Aztecs and the Spanish have pieced out. So like I was saying, see, Isabella didn't take any cities from the Iroquois because they only had melee units. Well, at least, they had a Gatling gun, but that's, not going to do much. I don't know. I think that how hard would it be to kind of, program the AI to just prefer range units? You know what I mean? Prefer more range units. Don't build as much melee. Now, maybe that's the right... Obviously, for human players, as you know, if you watch, any of my own single-player campaign videos of Civ 5, you'll know that I build, 2 or 3 melee units, and then I'll build, 7, 8 artillery. Maybe it's because, obviously human players are able to navigate the map a bit more. We have a barbarian worker Barbarians popping up all over the place. And maybe they make them build, maybe the AI is programmed to build more melee units because they're just not, obviously, smart enough to be able to strategically place units in the right area and stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like they should just maybe 60-40. 60% range units, 40% melee units. I could see where that would work. The Anishinaabe have 2 triplanes and 1 Great War Bomber. Let's go ahead and double check on what England has. I believe I saw, 2 Great War Bombers. And Canada might be going after England here soon. Again, I don't think Canada's declared a war just yet, or at least for sure they haven't declared a proximity war. I don't believe. Okay, I'll have to see if this passes. It probably will. And we'll probably check on the info addicts in the next video. I know I told you guys last video that we would do it this video, but we'll do it next video. It's fine. I kind of want to check around 275, give or take some time. No one that's bordering the Aztecs have declared war on them. That's interesting. I'm assuming that these nations that are forming up barbarians have got to be under different ideologies. I really think so. That's probably why they're here. That's what I think, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, dang, you have barbarian infantry you have to deal with. I mean, yeah, the Mayans have infantry too, but remember, this is kind of a death sentence for the AI because they got trapped in between a non-renewed open borders agreement with Napoleon. The AI is never going to be able to find their way out. Well, not with all these troops. I don't think so, unless, of course, they declare war on France, which is possible. So the repeal of the ban of Wales is not passed. Cultural heritage sites was not passed. Who named that? Who would name that? Well, I guess people that don't have wonders. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Napoleon is constructing the Manhattan Project in Paris, and then we have Sitting Bull plotting against Hiawatha. The Iroquois have really stopped. They've kind of stopped with their expansion. Akron is kind of the last one. Cuba. I'm pretty sure that's not how you pronounce this one, but this is, I think, the final cities that they've dropped down. I don't see anything else, which is really smart. I mean, the Iroquois were at almost the toughest situation. I am so shocked. That's the one nation that I really didn't think was going to have that good of a game. I thought, well, if they were to have a good game, it wouldn't be this way. I figured that they could have a good game because maybe if the Europeans and the colonies decided to be peaceful and they decided to trade with the Iroquois, I figured that they would catch up in technology first. Because they would get all that science per turn from all the caravans going to their lands. They just, I don't know, they did the complete opposite of what I thought, and it actually worked out for them. They're still doing fine. So how's France doing with their they're actually not engaging for the northernmost Cree city. I don't know if we're going to see any more cities fall, actually. The Sioux are continuing their efforts to take over the Denny in the west, and the Shoshone have kind of halted to a complete stop. I don't think they have any more military units at all. At least if they do, it's mainly down towards the south. They better hope that their relationship with the Zapotec are good. Because if it's not, I don't know. Because the Zapotec are continuing to expand. Oh, Duckwater has been founded. And this is probably in the San Francisco region. The Zapotec need to take more of California, or else the Shoshone are going to get too powerful, just way too powerful. The Aztecs have denounced Mexico, and the Chinook have denounced Mexico as well. Ideology, Mexico's chosen autocracy. Okay, so we always need to check on this window because it is one of those windows that I cannot click on for some reason. That's just fantastic. Again, that's something we got to keep in mind when we play with a bunch of mods. Things like this happen. We're going to see some problems. So that's why we need to be careful with these campaigns. Anyways, revolutionary wave already for Mexico, and they just picked autocracy. I don't know if they were trying to get on a good side with the Sioux. The Sioux are at -8 happiness. We have the Zapotec at -1. The Americans at -13. They're actually in freedom too. They're a freedom nation, but their public opinion is in dissidence. Revolutionary wave for both Spain and the Anishinaabe. But they still have positive happiness, which is not bad. The Mayans are at -14 happiness. Jeez. But they're also freedom. Interesting world. Really, really weird world. The Shoshone are at -6 happiness, but overall, none of that is being contributed because of public opinion or their ideology. And there's actually a tie right now for most influence, the Shoshone and the Denny, tied at 2 of 16. Anyways, let's continue to move on here. These infantry are being dealt with by the Mayan military. And France is going in. Here we go. France is going in. The Cree are probably not reinforcing anything else. Now, how are the Anishinaabe doing against the Cree? Nothing. Pretty much nothing happened here. The Americans didn't do much either. And we talked about how I think I kind of predicted that one. Not initially. I thought that they would do something. I think Canada's probably going to do most of the damage if they declare war on the Anishinaabe in the north. So it looks like the Shoshone were able to build up the Eiffel Tower. The Paris of what? I don't even know what I was trying to say there. The Eiffel Tower, Pocatello, has been built. What are these two? These Canadian garrison artillery. Okay, let's continue to progress. Lots of pillaged tiles. When did these... I don't even know. When did these tiles get pillaged? Were those from barbarians like a long time ago? And they just don't have a worker to fix it? Maybe. Maybe that's what's happening. Jeez, the Sioux just haven't let up. The Sioux have totally not even let up. Not at all. Like, whereas clearly the Shoshone have, where their units are actually heading back down south. It looks like they might be trying to go after somebody else. Maybe the Zapotec, but the Zapotec have gotten a pretty good military up. So I don't know. It's kind of too late now. Mexico's just trying to survive, it looks like. How's France doing? France has not turned their back on Spain just yet. Ooh, we have a French settler looking like maybe the tip of Florida, or maybe even a little bit of these lands. Technically, is this the Caribbean? Not sure if it technically is, but if it is, it'd be like the northernmost Caribbean of the most northernmost part of the Caribbean, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The Mayans have publicly denounced the Chinook, and the Creek and the Mayan have signed a research agreement. The Creek. Did I say the Creek? Yes, I think I did. I love this campaign because there have been just so much happiness. I'm not used to the AI having happiness issues. Usually they really don't. For the most part, they really, I don't know, they normally don't have happiness issues, but they are clearly having a lot this time. Canada, what you doing, man? I want to know what you're doing. It looks like you're gonna go after the Anishinaabe, but I still think that would be pretty tough for you to do. The Anishinaabe do have that Air Force. The Iroquois is still building settlers. They're still going after it, I guess. They're not stopping anytime soon. The Deni have denounced the Chinook, and the next world leader proposal, I didn't even know that continues to happen. Oh, see, look at that. Look at that. Canada's down to 10. Wow. So they squeezed the victory out, like, barely last minute. Dang. So, you know, if things would have fallen apart a little bit sooner for Canada, they probably wouldn't have got that diplomatic victory. Because now they're at 10, and I'm assuming that's going to drop more and more. Although it depends really on the civs that have yet to choose an ideology. I believe there's like 2 or 3 civs that have yet to choose an ideology. If it continues to go on the pace where we're seeing it, where like kind of towards the end here, we're seeing less and less freedom and more towards autocracy or order. So I think we might continue to see that. Obviously, that would break apart maybe a few more friendships that Canada controls. But then again, you know, every world leader vote would have given them 2 votes. Because I'm assuming with all the delegates they had, they would have continued to get first place. But I don't know. We'll see. Still pretty good game. So America's pieced out the Anishinaabe. Pretty disappointing statement there by Washington. Really, I don't know. Kind of disappointing. Especially because I know a lot of people were really pumped. They thought, you know, oh yeah, America's been building up this army, and they're just getting ready to unleash it upon the world. That didn't happen. America's pieced out with Spain. The Spanish are probably going to piece out with the Iroquois very soon. So the only thing that really happened, whoa, boom, there goes France. So here we go. Now I'm eating my own words. France does in fact have a bunch of ranged units, you know, obviously taking the city down to no health, but they can't navigate to get their great war infantry to melee the city. We'll have to wait and see. I'm sure they will. It's only a matter of time, but maybe I should eat my own words here. Oh, actually, you know what? Next turn should be it. Napoleon will kind of walk in since this guy already got destroyed. If we hit next turn, I think that they're among the first to go, among to have their turns process first. And this is going to give Napoleon a city just south of Sioux territory. Boom, there it goes. The Cree have been kicked out, and they remain with only their 4 cities near the Great Lakes. And now there's a pretty interesting border between France and the Sioux. Sioux are still really preoccupied with the Deni. The Shoshone are still sending troops up north. Really, really interesting to see the relationship between the Sioux as they continue to force the Deni to give them cities. The Shoshone, the Sioux, and the French, as well as the Iroquois. But the Iroquois, you know, I mean, the Iroquois they're not a big military force. They defended themselves pretty well against Spain, but Spain's only had 4 cities, and technically these two other cities were Florida. They were part of English territory, so they're not contributing that much, or they haven't contributed that much in terms of time to their empire. But anyways, guys, I'm going to have to stop right there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.